So the expected happened. The expected happened, lads. And in a shock to absolutely nobody, Caitlinclark is out.
Caitlinclark just said something that made all the WNBA fans go totally crazy. She said she was ready to play basketball against the Minnesota Lynx team, but then, surprise, they said she couldn't play at the very last minute. Everyone on the internet is super confused and upset right now. There's $500,000 that could be won, and the Fever's best player isn't even there to play. What do you think is really happening with why Caitlinclark isn't playing when nobody expected it?
Caitlinclark officially ruled out for tonight's game against the Minnesota Lynx, the final of the Commissioner's Cup.
So here we are again, everyone. Another day. Another Caitlinclark problem that has everyone in the WNBA world going crazy like a washing machine that's about to break. And honestly, right now, I'm starting to think the Indiana Fever coaches like watching us all worry more than they like actually winning games. Let me tell you what happened, because this whole thing is messier than a little kid eating spaghetti. The Commissioner's Cup game was supposed to be Caitlin's big comeback time. You know, that awesome return where she scores 30 points and shows everyone why she's the most famous player in women's basketball. Instead, we got left waiting like a bad TV show that ends right at the good part.
That is not the case so far. It's looking like Caitlinclark will be a game time decision based off what Stephanie White just told the media today. Now,
Coach Stephanie White decides to mess with our feelings by saying Clark might or might not play. She'll decide right before the game starts. Might or might not play. Come on! That's like saying you might show up to your own birthday party. Either you're going or you're not going. But don't make us wait and wonder until the very last minute. It's like they think it's funny watching grown-ups check their phones every few seconds hoping to find out what's happening.
See what happens as we go through shoot around, and again, I think the most important thing for us is big picture. No sense in rushing anything, so we'll get her evaluated by the training staff and go from there.
That groin injury excuse is getting old really fast. Like when you leave milk outside and it goes bad super quick. Yeah, players do get hurt sometimes, and we want everyone to stay safe, but here's the thing. When you show up to practice one day and then suddenly disappear the next day, people start wondering what's really going on. And when there's $500,000 involved, those questions get way louder and people won't stop asking.
With the Fever, is this team, a group that has not experienced any type of championship over the last 10 years, tries to set the tone here with a win tonight. But it's going to be difficult, as Caitlinclark, who did not participate in the shoot-around and stretching portions that were open to the media. She's dealing with a groin injury. She dealt previously with a quad strain. All indications is that she will not be available, but she is on this trip.
What makes this whole thing even more crazy is how all the TV reporters and news people acted.
First third of the season for your Indiana Fever. They're sitting at 8-8 right now, right at 500. Injuries have reared its ugly head, of course, with Caitlinclark. Players coming to and from the team. Wnba Bonner no longer on the team. It's been anything but smooth sailing here to start this season. But this team is staying together, keeping the main thing, and next on the docket, a date with the Minnesota Lynx, best record in the league for the Commissioner's Cup final.
1 minute we hear that Clark was practicing yesterday and looked totally fine. The next minute, she's not even on the basketball court for warm-ups. It's like watching a magic trick, but the magician forgot to bring the rabbit, and we're all just looking at an empty hat. Ben Pickman, who's a really good guy, is up there in Minnesota doing amazing work by telling us what he actually sees. His pictures show the Fever team doing their practice at Target Center, and guess who's missing? That's right, our girl Caitlin. She's not even there at all. It's like she just disappeared. The crazy theories are already flying around faster than Clark's three-point shots. Some fans think this is all planned, keeping the Lynx team guessing about who they'll play against. Others think there's more to this injury than what we're being told. And then you have the negative people who think Clark is just being super careful with a small problem. But let's talk about what this really means for the Fever team. They're playing against a Minnesota team that really wants that Commissioner's Cup money. $500,000 split between the team is serious money. That's real cash that could change these players' lives, especially since WNBA players don't make as much money as NBA players. And here's the Fever maybe going into this big game without their best player. Kelsey Mitchell is going to have to play way better than usual. She's been good all season, but carrying the team's scoring without Clark is totally different. It's like asking someone to run a really long race after they've only trained for a short one. Can it happen? Sure. Will it be easy? Definitely not. The timing of this whole thing couldn't be worse. The Commissioner's Cup isn't just some random regular season game that people forget about next week. This is a big show, a chance for the WNBA to put their best basketball on TV. And having the league's biggest star sitting on the bench is like having a concert without the main singer. What's really bothering me is how this whole thing has been handled when it comes to talking to fans. Fans deserve better than mysterious updates and decisions made at the last minute. We're not asking for a full doctor's report, but being honest goes a long way. Instead, we get treated like mushrooms, kept in the dark and fed junk. The social media reaction has been totally crazy. Twitter is going nuts faster than ice cream melts in summer. You've got fans demanding answers, others saying to be patient, and the usual people making jokes about everything. It's like watching a digital soap opera happen right in front of us. Some people are saying this game doesn't matter, that Clark should just rest and not risk getting hurt worse. Those people are either lying to themselves or they don't understand what $500,000 means to these players. This isn't fake money we're talking about. This is life-changing cash that could help these athletes for months. The competitive side of Clark has to be driving her crazy right now. This is someone who loves big moments, who lives for games that really matter. Being forced to watch from the sidelines while her teammates fight for a championship trophy and serious money has to be torture. It's like being invited to a party but having to stand outside and watch through the window. Minnesota has to be loving this situation. They're getting ready for the Fever without knowing if they'll face the team's best player or not. It's like mind games at their best. The Lynx can plan for Clark all they want, but if she doesn't play, all that planning goes out the window. The injury itself makes us wonder about the Fever's medical staff and training rules. How does a player go from practicing normally to being ruled out overnight? Either the first checkup was wrong or something happened between yesterday and today that we're not being told about. Neither situation makes me feel confident. This whole situation shows us how tricky professional sports can be. One day you're on top of the world. The next you're watching your team fight for prize money while you're stuck in regular clothes. It's a tough reminder that careers can change in a second, and every game matters more than fans might think. The effects of Clark's absence go beyond just this one game. It affects how the team works together, rotation plans, and overall confidence going into a big matchup. When your star player might or might not play until the last second, it's hard to stay focused and prepare properly. It's like trying to study for a test when you don't know what subject it's on. Media coverage of this story has been intense, which shouldn't surprise anyone at this point. Caitlinclark gets clicks and views like nobody else in women's basketball. Every update, every photo, every rumor gets picked apart and studied by fans who are hungry for information. It's the price of being famous in the social media age. The business side of this situation can't be ignored either. Clark being there or not directly affects ticket sales, TV ratings, and overall interest in the game. The WNBA has spent a lot of money promoting her as the face of the league, so having her sit out big games hurts everyone involved. It's not just about basketball anymore, it's about entertainment value and marketing dollars. Looking at the bigger picture, this incident represents everything that's both exciting and frustrating about following professional sports. The uncertainty, the drama, the last-minute changes, it's all part of what makes us obsessed fans. But sometimes, you just want to watch your favorite player play basketball without all the extra nonsense. The pressure on the rest of the Fever roster is huge now. They know all eyes will be on them to prove they can compete without their superstar. It's a chance for role players to step up and show what they're made of. But it's also a chance for things to go very wrong very quickly. Remember when Clark was dealing with that eye injury earlier this season? Same thing happened. Lots of drama, guessing, and fans losing their minds. She came back and played like nothing happened. Maybe this is just the same thing happening again, but the stakes feel higher this time because of the money involved. The Commissioner's Cup format itself adds another layer of weirdness to this whole mess. It's not a playoff game, but it's not a regular season game either. It exists in this strange middle ground where teams want to win for the money and respect, but not at the cost of long-term health. Clark's situation perfectly captures this awkward balance between competing and protecting yourself. What's really wild is how quickly the story changed from excitement to disappointment. Yesterday we were talking about Clark's return and how she'd help the Fever make a run for that prize money. Today we're debating whether she'll even be in the building. Sports can change faster than the weather, and this is perfect proof of that reality. The reporters covering this story deserve credit for trying to make sense of the chaos. They're getting bits and pieces of information, trying to put together a complete picture while everyone else is demanding instant answers. It's not easy when the team is being secretive about basic information, like whether their star player can actually walk properly. Scott Agnes has been doing great work following the team around and giving us real updates instead of just guessing. His photos from practice tell the story better than any press conference could. When you can see with your own eyes that Clark isn't there, it removes all the guesswork and political speak from coaches trying to be strategic. The fan reactions range from reasonable to absolutely crazy. You've got people saying she should rest and recover properly, which makes sense for long-term success. Then you have others acting like this is some personal betrayal, as if Clark chose to get injured just to mess with their fantasy lineups. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle, as usual. What bothers me most about this situation is the lack of clear information. We're in 2025, not 1975. Medical checkups should be more accurate than maybe she'll play, maybe she won't. Either the injury is serious enough to keep her out, or it's not. This wishy-washy approach helps nobody and just creates more drama than necessary. The Fever season has been a roller coaster of emotions for fans. Clark's second year in the league was supposed to be smoother than her rookie year. But injuries and inconsistency have made it just as chaotic. Every time it seems like things are settling down, something new pops up to keep everyone on edge. Aaliyah Boston and the rest of the front court will need to step up massively if Clark can't go. The team's whole offensive system runs through her playmaking and scoring ability. Without that threat, Minnesota can focus their defensive attention elsewhere and make life much harder for everyone else on the roster. This groin injury has been bothering Clark for weeks now, which makes us wonder if the team has been handling it properly. Groin injuries are tricky because they can stick around if not treated correctly, and pushing through them can make everything worse. Maybe this forced rest is actually the best thing that could happen for her long-term health. The timing with the Commissioner's Cup is just brutal luck. This tournament was created to give teams something extra to play for during the regular season, and it's working exactly as intended. Players want that money and trophy, which makes Clark's absence even more painful for the Fever and their fans. Looking ahead, this whole episode shows how fragile team chemistry and planning can be in professional sports. The Fever have built their entire identity around Clark's unique skills, so when she's not available, everything else has to change. Rotations, plays, defensive schemes, it all gets thrown out the window and rebuilt from scratch. The Minnesota Lynx are probably the happiest team in the league right now. They were already planning to make this a tough game for Indiana, but without Clark, their job just got significantly easier. They can focus on shutting down other players instead of game planning specifically for the league's most dynamic offensive weapon. Social media has turned this whole thing into a circus, which is both entertaining and exhausting. Every tweet gets analyzed, every photo gets studied for clues, and every update sends thousands of people into either celebration or despair. It's the modern sports experience in all its chaotic glory. The business implications are huge too. Networks, advertisers, and sponsors all build their expectations around having the league's biggest stars available for big games. When Clark sits out, it affects everything from TV ratings to merchandise sales. The WNBA has worked hard to build her into a household name, so her absence has ripple effects throughout the entire organization. At the end of the day, player health has to come first, even when it's inconvenient for everyone else. If Clark needs more time to heal properly, then that's what should happen. But the communication around that decision could definitely be better, because this guessing game helps nobody and just creates unnecessary drama for fans who want to support their team. This whole Caitlin situation just proves that WNBA drama never stops. Whether she plays or not, the Fever are in a tough spot with $500,000 on the line. What's your take on this mess? Drop your thoughts in the comments and smash that like button if you want more WNBA coverage. Subscribe for all the latest updates.